Hi, I'm Robin Schilling, and I'm here with another leadership lesson for you. Today's lesson is from the Modesto Business Examiner, written by Tracy Smith, and it's called The 5 Most Important Leadership Qualities Any Leader Should Possess. If you're currently leading a team of people or you're about to become a leader, I have learned 5 things that you should seriously take into consideration. For those already managing and leading a team, it's never too late to review some aspects of your leadership skills. Nobody's perfect, and becoming a strong leader is something you can learn and even improve if you think that you're lacking in certain areas. As in many other roles, a leadership role is a never-ending process of self-analysis and self-improvement. While opinions do vary regarding the role of a leader in a networking marketing system, several studies have shown that the main qualities a strong leader should possess aren't the stereotypical ones we almost always see. Leaders that empower others are much more preferred and therefore are more successful than those who believe that leading simply means exercising power over those below you. Here's the list of the 5 most important leadership qualities any good leader should possess. Number 1, serve as a role model and lead as you would want your leader to be. The first thing that differentiates a good leader from a bad is how they understand the concept of leadership itself and how they use it to benefit the company as well as the consultant. As a leader, your role is to lead a team of people to achieve results that will ultimately enhance and better your organization. So, how do you accomplish this? Simply by empowering, trusting, and setting examples instead of showing and using the power you have acquired for your own gain or to please your own ego. That's probably a little harsh to hear, but it's a truth. A good leader should be a role model for the rest of the team. Maybe it's even easier to think of it this way. Achieving success as a leader will only happen when you manage to lead as you would like your leader to be. In other words, be the leader you would want to have lead you. Number 2, working the hardest to set the example. Being a leader doesn't exonerate you from hard work. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Successful leaders, whether they run large organizations or smaller groups, have to understand this concept, which is the importance of working the hardest to set an example. A team will only recognize a good leader who's willing to work the hardest and set the example by raising the bar as high as possible. The time when leaders were sitting comfortably in their offices, barking orders, making negative comments, mostly, and resting on their laurels should be a thing of the past. When you think of it with an open mind, it's simple and logical. How can a leader expect the best from their own team if you're not willing to show the example yourself? Being in charge still brings in nice perks, such as some flexible time when needed, for instance. It also gives you the very important duty to work as hard as possible alongside your team. Number 3, putting your consultants first in all circumstances. Leaders do have to make decisions all the time. Good leaders will try and consider the well-being of their organization as well as that of their own personal team. While this is clearly not an easy task to do, indeed, so many different factors can affect the running of an organization. A responsible leader will look for decisions that will benefit everyone. One important thing to remember is that any organization is nothing without its own workforce, whoever they are, and when faced with a hard decision, a good leader, for instance, with a good understanding of consultant needs, won't hesitate to put her people first. Again, decisions can be hard to make, but compromises do exist. And one of the top 5 leadership skills a good leader should possess is the ability of being able to value the consultants as much as the organization itself. Number 4, expressing yourself the right way. It's sometimes difficult for leaders to accept that they are filling a role that requires certain skills they may not yet possess. We all express ourselves differently, but when it comes to talking to our team, for instance, it's best to adopt a style that may differ from the one you use outside of the workplace. First of all, paying close attention to what your consultants are telling you is probably what's most important when it comes to honing your communication skills. By listening carefully instead of rushing, and maybe only hearing what you really want to hear, your answer will be much more adapted to your team's needs, appreciations, or their questions. The second most important thing to learn is to always get straight to the point. There is no need to engage in a long-winded conversation, which in the end may lead you to say things you had no intentions of saying initially. Listening carefully and making sure that the answer you provide is clear, polite, and straight to the point will not only prove effective, but will also show that as a leader, you know what you're talking about and what you really want. Number 5, do exactly as you say and mean what you say. Say what you mean and mean what you say. It's sometimes difficult to keep promises made, and we all know that disappointed consultants do not make good team members. While there is nothing wrong with promises, and if you want to be a really good leader, you must always think through before committing yourself to a promise that may be impossible to keep later on. Forecasting big results or any other great business venture, for instance, is always enticing, and consultants will respond positively. But when the results aren't there in the end, you will most certainly lose your credibility. The golden rule here is to only commit what you can deliver, and this applies to all areas of your life. There's always a learning curve when you take on leadership roles, but when you know exactly that what you've said and announced to your team is what you really mean, there will be no nasty surprises, disappointments, and your leadership skills will remain intact, whatever the circumstances. Not being able to keep up with things you've promised is like sending your team the message that you are not in control of the situation and ultimately of your own business. This reflects badly on yourself, and you want to avoid this at all costs. For your own benefits, the benefit of your team, and that of your organization. In conclusion, no one is perfect, and neither is their leadership style or ability. If we remember that as leaders, we must lead by learning, and we must continually focus on bettering ourselves. We should truly lead with a style of graciousness and humility, and show our strength only when needed. This will improve productivity, morale, and make you an all-around better leader. Thanks for joining me for today's lesson. Have a great rest of your day.